Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Harry here. I'm back with another video and I want to talk about peer-to-peer sharing. Before I get into the main part of this video, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to the background here. Some people were asking about this and like, what is this stuff? Like, where are you? This is simply a mock setup of an old like broadcast, like TV studio type deal. And the stuff still works. It's really old though. I mean, this stuff kind of went out of fashion in probably like, I would say the 90s to early 2000s. It's all standard definition, and yeah, it's just kind of here. And so I was like, hey, why not record a video in front of it? All right, now peer-to-peer sharing. Real quick explanation of what that is. Peer-to-peer sharing is when you are sharing files or data between two devices directly. A really good example of peer-to-peer sharing is Apple's Airdrop functionality. If you have a Mac or an iPhone, you hopefully know that you can share files seamlessly between the two devices. So if you have a picture that's on your iPhone and you want to quickly just send it to your Mac, you can open up Airdrop and literally have it over there in seconds. Obviously, that only works if you have some Apple devices that can, use the Airdrop functionality to share files between, devices and stuff like that. I myself do not own any Apple devices, so this functionality is something that I only use if I'm like working with, Macs and like an iPhone or something like that. The rest of my time in my personal life, I don't use Airdrop, but I love the functionality of it, the usefulness of it, and just the geniusness of it, but also the simplicity of it. That's a lot of things. So it got me thinking, does Android or Windows, do they have anything like this at all to share between devices and things like that? And the answer is, it depends on how much digging you have done. Windows 10 has something called nearby sharing. Nearby sharing is basically Airdrop, but in my experience, it hasn't been the most reliable. I've tried to share files before and the file wasn't that big. It was maybe 200 megabytes. With Airdrop, I've experienced files that are, multiple gigs, and Airdrop has been able to transfer them, within a relatively short amount of time, like say 5 minutes. Nearby sharing, however, it took an eternity. In fact, I didn't even finish it. I remember transferring a 200 megabyte file. I gave up. It was so slow, and I was on a really fast network, and I was just kind of like, really? On the other side of the spectrum, you have Android, and Android has something called NFC. There's also, I think, like Android Beam or something like that. If you haven't heard of these, or if you've never used any of these functionalities, that is, in my opinion, okay, because at least in my experience with NFC, I have like never gotten NFC to actually like transfer things. Also with NFC, you can't transfer files to a computer because computers, to my knowledge, I've never ever seen a computer with near field communication built into it. So you can only transfer stuff between two devices. That is if you can actually get it to work. Okay, so basically what I've talked about so far is that the only option for peer-to-peer sharing, at least it seems like, is Airdrop. And that's only on Apple's devices. Then a few months ago, I discovered an application called Filedrop, and Filedrop has been awesome. So all that Filedrop does is it gives you the ability to share files with a multitude of devices. So from your laptop to your phone, from your laptop to your desktop, from your desktop to your phone, from an Android device to an iOS device to a Mac OS device. I think you get the picture. It is incredibly versatile. I have been using Filedrop myself for the past like 6 months, and it has been so handy. Gone are the days when I would have to, if I wanted to get a picture from my phone to my computer, I would email it to myself. I would put it on Google Drive. All decent options, or I would put it on like a flash drive. No, I just open up Filedrop and just select what I want and send it, and then I just accept it on the device that I'm sending it to. And yeah, easy as that. It's super, super simple. The great thing about Filedrop is that you really can't mess it up because it is so streamlined. The interface is incredibly simple and it just works like every time unless there's some random network error. Filedrop by default wants to transfer things either between a phone to a desktop computer or from a desktop computer to a phone. It doesn't really want to do from a laptop to a desktop or from a desktop to a laptop or whatever it may be. For some reason, that's how it's been set up. What ends up happening a lot of times is that you'll have to keep searching for a device. And after about the fourth failed search, Filedrop will just ask what you're trying to connect to. And then from there, it will have you type in a code on one of the devices that will automatically, they'll be able to find each other on the network, and that way you can start sharing files over the Wi-Fi. Which brings me to my next point. Filedrop uses Wi-Fi, so it's not Bluetooth to Bluetooth or something like that. It does use Wi-Fi, so if there isn't a network connection, then you won't be able to share files with, which in my experience, that's not even a con for me, at least. And even when having really slow connections, Filedrop has still been super fast to transfer things between devices. So in that regard, I can't really complain, but I definitely will call it out for the just kind of ridiculous system that you have to go through in order to connect a laptop to a mobile phone or something of that nature, because it just doesn't really want to do it. In fact, actually for the first few months of using it, I thought it couldn't do that until I just one day kept searching and eventually was like, hey, we can't find this device, type in this code and you're good to go. One more thing about Filedrop is that on iOS, it costs money. I think it costs either $2 or $3 to get, which is it still is great because you can share files between Windows and Mac OS. But the fact that it costs money, whereas on other platforms, on Android and Windows, it's just free. You just download it. It doesn't cost anything. Not sure why that is. Also, I will have Filedrop linked in the description below. And also, you've seen me using it, so you'll know what it looks like and what the app looks like, because on the Google Play Store, there are multiple clones of it. There are multiple file sharing applications that are called Filedrop, but they're not this Filedrop. Maybe those are just as good. I haven't ever felt the need to go looking for other applications because this one has been just great. Thank you for watching. Go ahead and subscribe, like this video. Let me know about whatever file sharing system that you use. I'm open to other options besides Filedrop. And once again, thank you very much.